Hello everybody, I am Serta and welcome back to MineMogul. Well, I recorded this episode and it had no audio, so I'm doing another one. It's going to be a little shorter than normal, and I will run through everything that I've done and all the new stuff because we had a big update. It is the bulk Industries update, and it introduced new machines, new conveyors, and a whole bunch of new things, including a new resource. So we're going to check that out and see how we can extract that. Anyway, lots to do, let's get stuck in. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have a look at our progress. So let's have a look at the quests. We have completed all of these Mogul quests, and they have been reduced. So the crushed coal, that was 20,000, has been brought down to 10. Coal ore from 10,000 brought down to 5,000. All the others have been reduced from 5,000 down to 2,000. And I had enough that they all completed. So all I have left now is the ultimate MineMogul. And as you can see, I've already started that, so I'm just going to activate it. I paused it so I could start this video. But that's not all. But if we go down here, there is this whole new thing. So we have to finish the polishing machine to be able to unlock red gems. Red gems are rubies. We now have rubies, but we also unlock a shaker table. So bear that in mind, and then we then can move on to polished diamond gem, polished emerald gem. We already had that, but that also unlocks a new one for the polished gems too, which is diamond, emerald, and ruby gems, which I have finished because it was pretty quick. Anyway, in the research, there's a whole bunch of new stuff. There are walled conveyors, and that gives us straight, corner, sloped, and ledge, all with walls, so you can have massive amounts of ore coming through without it falling off the belt. In addition, we have the ore overflow splitter, which is a splitter that allows you to split large quantities of ore. And they specifically say ore, so I'm not sure if you can use other stuff, but yeah, there you go. We also have new drill bits, the turbo drill bit and the hardened drill bit. I assume those will last longer, but they don't really specify. Only lasts 2 minutes before breaking. Oh, the turbo bit is, in other words, it's super fast, but yeah, it doesn't last long. The hardened drill bit for rapid auto miners, slower than the standard drill bit, but never breaks. Now that's a thing. That could mean that we could actually save space, because the miners that we're using now are pretty hectic, but we're also getting gems from them, so I don't know, we're gonna have to think about that one. And up at the top are two: the shaker table and the vertical belt sorter. Those are new, and we're gonna have a quick look at those. I've also done some tinkering on my setup. I'm not completely sorted with it yet. As you can see, my polished iron plates are not moving, and neither are my gold ingots. That's because I've had to reroute the ingots to go and do other things, but that's fine. In the meantime, everything else is climbing. We're doing well. So we have this machine, and what is that? Well, let's take this out. I'm going to break this one down, and then I'm going to show you kind of what it looks like. So basically, it's a sorter with two sorter baskets. You have an input at the top, two sorter baskets that you can sort out different items, and they drop out at ground level at the bottom. And then you can obviously put conveyors under them to take the stuff away. So if I was to put this one over there, like it was, we'd put things into that basket, and we would feed into this chute, and it would come down and it would fall onto the three belts. So that's pretty cool. There's a use case for that for sure. But compared to the other sorter, if we were to put them where the belts come out, look at that. Look at the difference in height. And that's one of my pet peeves of this game. The game is really good, but it lacks the ability to take items straight up. Instead, you have to use those slope conveyors, which take up a lot of space and make things look really untidy. So if there was a conveyor lift, like 1 or 2 blocks in size, that we could take items straight up to various levels, almost like unlimited levels, that would be very useful here. But here, boy, more ramps, more space taken up. And yeah, anyway, it's one of those things. You work with the tools you have. All right, let's have a look at that ore overflow splitter. Here it is. It's basically, okay, let's take out the walled, these are the walled belts. That's a walled cornered belt. I'll just take that out and that out. This is what the splitter looks like. So you can take a huge amount of stuff into it and then split it without it overflowing and dropping stuff all over the ground. And then we can take like a walled conveyor like this one and go, okay, we want that side to go that way, and that side to go that way. And you have bulk splitting, which would work well with like a hopper, where you have a lot of stuff dropping into one hopper, and then it falls onto a belt that's walled and flows through the splitter and goes where you need it to. So that's pretty cool. But the big one, we have rubies now. And rubies don't just come out of mines. In fact, none of the mines produce any ruby as far as I could tell. The only way to do that is to extract it from coal. So for that little setup, what I did was I split this coal and I brought it up to this level into this new machine, and this is the shaker. So this shaking table takes the coal, it shakes it up, and it spits it out, belt underneath, and I've put that into a sorter. Now you get apparently a chance of diamonds, gold, and rubies. So I'm not being too concerned about the gold, and I can't say that I've seen any come out. The gold and the coal, because there will be coal coming through as well. They will be diverted and they're just going to go onto a belt and get delivered. The ruby and diamond I've put in the basket, so they'll come out this way, they'll get polished and then head out and land up on that same belt. And there goes a ruby. Look at that. We have a ruby. So that's pretty cool. The dev's definitely putting work into this game. Very, very nice. Lots of cool things, new machines. I really have thought about breaking everything down and redoing it because this place messes with my mind. Every time I look at it, I walk in here and I think, whoa, hold on, this looks like something from Let's Game It Out. A mess. Anyway, as a use case, I put the walled corner conveyors in a place that was dropping, if I could get myself out of here, a place that was dropping lots of rods. And apparently, these are the ones that I dropped. No, those aren't. Damn it. Oh, they also changed this magnet tool. So if you press Q, it says resources not in filter baskets now. So that's good to know. Anyway, I need to go and drop this stuff off. Alright, that's cleaned up. So we shouldn't see too much stuff falling off the belt over here anymore. It does help with these items that should be on flat belts. However, that's not the end of it. We have new roller conveyor parts, including a sloped roller conveyor, which I haven't used yet. But I think I'll get to it. If I was to rebuild this place, I'd probably use it more. Anyway, I've got to try and wind my way out of here. So if we go into the shop, there's the roller conveyor slope. So I think that's going to be very useful to some people. And if you mix that with a roller conveyor corner, you could make some good long roller conveyor things to bring resources back in. It doesn't make things any neater really, because you still have supports under all of them like that. These supports that don't need to be this close together, but for some reason are. And going back in here, there's the dev test. This dev test thing, I bought it, and I was given this. It's a sled of sorts, but it's impossible to control. So I thought of putting it on rails. It doesn't have wheels, and even moving it around is very, very difficult. It tends to want to flip. And if you pick it up with your, yep, there you go. You can't pick it up with your magnet tool. That doesn't work. So, you know, aim at the spot you want to connect to with your individual grab magnet by pressing E, and then, oops. Yeah, I think that might not be what I wanted to do. So press E and we can drag it to where we want to. But yeah, it's not, I don't know. Obviously it's a test for something, because there's a handle. It looks like you're supposed to push or pull there. But even that is not, it's not very good, and you're definitely not getting through small spaces very easily. I've never noticed that before, but there's this huge chain on a big roller that is used for the elevator. Huh, very cool. So in the meantime, everything is still working. I'm working towards the ultimate MineMogul quest, and we're slowly getting there. And as you can see, the polished ruby gems have been included in this quest, and we need 500 of them. That is going to take a while. Another thing that I did was I connected the miner up there, and that I brought around, and I'm just dropping it onto this belt, which connects through to the rest of the system. I suppose if I really looked at this place, I could refine the belts that I'm using. And it's not necessary that these three are like this. One could be on top of each other. I'm pretty sure that I'd be able to bring this belt over to this line, and then there would be a bit of space, but then I'd have nothing to walk on. But yeah, lots of improvements could be made if I had the time for it. But yes, I might still consider if there's another big update where they actually bring in the conveyor lifts. I think I probably will redo this whole thing. I've also been thinking about how best to lay things out so that they work properly. Because right now you can see my copper products are coming through pretty nicely. but I've had to mess with the gold and the iron to give some items preference for a while so that they can actually build up. But on the copper side, if we have a look, if you remember correctly, the way I did it was there were a couple of miners over here that I brought the materials through and sent them over the top of this into a crusher, into a smelter, polisher, and there was another crusher over here that it's being split off into. This one is making ingots. This one is making the pipes. So these two are separate from the rods and the plates, which are being produced downstairs in the hole. And those are taking materials from like 5 more mines. So it's like 2 separate systems and they work. And I suppose I could use those walled belts over here. So this always gives me a problem. If I try and replace it quickly, maybe I will... Oh, there. Nope. Rotate. And that's one thing that the dev has said that he wants to do. And that is later on in a future update, have the ability to just replace belts by clicking them instead of having to break them out and rebuild them. So that's a good thing coming in the future. Anywho, let's drop this off. And there's a plate over here that I can drop off. If I can get it up. There you go. So, we shouldn't have things falling off the belt on this side anymore. I don't know if... Oh, yeah, that side is the same. So yeah, we could come around, look at all of these problems. We have issues in some places where things are falling off the belt. We can put the walled conveyors in and stop those things from falling off the belt. Yeah, this is really... It's nice, and it's good that the dev is bringing out updates so soon. This was quite a big update for so quickly. But right now, I'm thinking that I'm going to split the outputs from these 2 smelters and have them as separate outputs so that each of them can feed one side of this. Because right now, it's not working out so well. So maybe what I'll do is I'll have one of them feeding the rods and the plates and the other one feeding ingots. Yeah, you know, I could actually probably do that. So I'd have to give a bit of a polish and then bring this belt through here. And hold on, let me move these ingots first. This is going to probably need a better setup, walled conveyors. That's going to fall off again. But in the meantime, let's get this belt in. We'll throw that across to there, and then we'll turn that, and then go straight in there, and then we'll turn this one. Then we can move, this line can just feed the ingots out, and then I can have all of them. So if I delete that one and I go like this very quickly, there we go. I actually didn't need all of that. I could have taken it a bit further. It's alright. And then on this side, I'll take this out and replace it with one of those. And then I'm going to have to belt this there and hop through over here. Ooh, this is a bit tight. We'll have to remove that and have a straight bit going through that way. So now we can take that out, and yeah, we've got 2 separate lines. We'll be delivering ingots, and see, I've jammed this up. Let's move some stuff out of the way so it actually works. Cool thing is, when these do fall over the edge, they're going to just fall back on the same belt. Alright, that's clean. So there we go. We should start getting gold ingots through. And it does look like these things are going to both sides. So, awesome. And while I'm here, just fix up that little kinky bit so that the ingots can just go straight on. Excellent. It's working. Okay, happy with that. And then we can head back. And the gold ingots are starting to flow through. Very good. So like I said, much shorter episode than normal. I do apologize for that. But yeah, sometimes things just go wrong. But I achieved a fair bit. So this is not too bad. So what I did with this miner up the back... Oh, and I might as well show you what I found while I was up there. So just jump up. So this miner is feeding through and it's just dropping things on that belt. But I need to get my torch out. So that's good. There's a little hole over here and there's a little room. And there's a bit of gold in here and some diamond, but that's about it. Just another little hidden area. And apparently there are a couple more. So maybe we're just going to have a look for 1 or 2. If I can get out of here. 6. So like if we go down this main corridor, I don't know, maybe there's something here. Should be chopping all of this away. But no, nothing there. Carry on going. And then there is a corridor end over here. Yeah, this is one of those rooms. Let's see if there's anything up against the wall that might be blocking an entrance. Don't see anything. Oh, wait, hang on. Oh, that looks fairly obvious right there. Yep. Now get the torch out. Yep, there's a hole going through here. There's another little room with, ooh, spiky green things. What are those? Are those emeralds? It doesn't look like you can chop those. Ah, interesting. Well, that's fun. Alright, I don't see anything else I can do here. So we hop out. And just keep an eye out. There may be other spots, but not in here, no. So you really have to walk around and go and break things out wherever you find them, because there's little hidden rooms. Some of them don't really give you anything, some of them are better. That's the one that goes through to the gold mine, the one that has 5% diamonds. Now we're going into the room where I had those fast auto miners, which I may actually put back in here, because we'll produce faster, which will be good. And there is another spot in the back corner that I've found. So we pull the pick out and chop that, and then grab our torch and we can go through, and there is another room which leads to another place to break out, and we can go through here, and this brings us to what exactly? Ooh, oh, a shortcut. Okay, nothing else in here, but it brings us out to this rail system that attaches to our gold line that's going to the gold production. Well, I don't know if that's helpful at all, but yeah, if we go back in from the other direction, there's some diamond in here. And that's about it. Yeah. Anyway, there might be other places. I haven't really scoured everything properly, but we are progressing pretty nicely towards the next quest, or the final quest. Well, as I said, it's a short one. I do apologize for that. Hopefully the audio on this one actually works. If you're seeing this video, then obviously it worked. I don't know if I'm going to do another video on this. It's going to take me quite a long time to finish that quest. And there are a few other things going on in the gaming world at the moment. And it appears I'm having some issues over here with things not going through properly. That's weird. So I'm going to have to figure out what that is. Maybe put some walled conveyors. They're actually very nice. They are going to be very, very useful. Just get rid of all of those. So if you like this video, give us a like. If you want to see more, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications. Leave me your comments. Let me know your thoughts on this update. I think it's pretty good. New machines, new items, new conveyors, all sorts of new stuff. Always a good thing, and that means that the developer is taking this game seriously. And it's pretty good. And when you load a game, it has a section that says map. And it says that this is a particular map, which means that potentially there will be other maps with different cave systems coming later on. I think it's pretty good. My only issue is not having the ability to bring items straight up. You can bring them straight down with a conveyor chute, and that's pretty nice, but yeah, having a conveyor lift would be game changer and allow everyone to make much neater factories. I think I could have mined from a lot more places if I'd had the ability to take the ore straight up instead of using these windy spiral belts. But other than that, this game is really good. And it's very early access, so yeah, it's going to improve. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me, and until the next time, cheers!